Hi, this is James with Northern Arizona Wind and Sun. Today we're going to talk about the OutBack Skybox. The OutBack Skybox is a hybrid energy system. It is a grid interactive, battery-based solar inverter charger. It incorporates everything from the grid, a generator, batteries, and solar all into one product. One inverter system. Okay, so as you can see here, this is the Skybox main display and essentially what's going on currently. All right, so on my system here, we have solar, grid, these are the loads currently, and this is the battery, okay? The Skybox has the ability to connect the solar input, a grid. It has the ability to, back up critical loads on an essential loads panel, have batteries which will provide power to your critical loads during power outage or at night when you're trying to offset consumption from the grid or during peak hours. There's all sorts of configurations that you can make to utilize power from the batteries. And then you also can connect a backup generator which can be utilized during grid outages if the batteries become over discharged. So inside here, this is the load center for the inverter. Inside the load center, we have our battery connections. These battery connections come in here. The negative goes up and into the inverter. The positive goes through this 175 amp breaker and then up into the inverter. Here is where the grid connects into the system. So this is a 60 amp breaker. The grid feeds into the inverter. Here, the generator would feed in here on a 60 amp breaker. And this is the output to the critical loads over here on a 60 amp breaker. Over here is the PV disconnect. The wiring for this allows for up to 2 strings of solar panels to be wired in. You can see down here, I've got 2 strings in up to a 600 volt configuration. We have 20 330 watt solar panels wired into this Skybox on 2 strings of 10 panels each. So we ran out to one of our demo units at the office to open it up and show you the connections with regards to how it comes together and assembling it. The way the Skybox is delivered, this down here is essentially the load center, and this section up here is the inverter. So when you get it, you need to connect your load center to the inverter. And most of the connections just plug in pretty easily, or they bolt in like the battery cables bolt in. The solar array connections, they just land onto the disconnect here. The assembly of these 2 units goes together really easily. The inverter weighs about 70 pounds, give or take, and it's pretty easy for 2 people to lift it up. What makes it even easier is that you essentially mount the back plate on with the load center in place, and then you just slide the inverter over the top and it hooks into place, and then there's lock-in screws that just lock it down so it doesn't go anywhere. So it's very, very easy to get one of these mounted, get it installed. When you get this thing, you're just going to essentially plug in these AC connections. You can see them down here. You've got your breakers from your grid gen and out to the critical loads, and they'll just plug into the actual inverter up top. And then You'll pull down your ground cable and you'll tie it into the ground bus bar here, and you'll connect up your battery bus to your batteries, and the final connections will be your PV input. Here you've got the terminal block. It's a single MPPT inside the unit, so these terminals are essentially in parallel, but it allows you to connect up to 2 strings into the Skybox, and you just shove the wires down into the terminals and then you can lock them down. For the most part, that's the extent of the connections. You can use your on this terminal block here is where you would have your rapid shutdown terminations, and to your auxiliary outputs, to your gen start and stuff like that. Otherwise, there's really not a whole lot more to this thing. It's probably one of the easiest inverters to get integrated and installed. So this is the Skybox. It's an outdoor rated inverter charger. It's a great grid interactive solution. Highly recommend it for applications where you want to do net zero or grid interactive with battery backup. It does not require you to have batteries. So if you wanted to put a system in like this and then possibly add batteries in the future, you can use this solution for that. It can be AC coupled with an existing array as well. You can have up to 7.6 kilowatts of a standard grid tie system feed through this It's very, very versatile. So this is the OutBack Skybox. If you have any questions about it, give our team a call and we can put together a system for you. Thank you for watching our video. If you enjoyed it, please like, subscribe, and comment.